Today we are talking about busting through a weight loss plateau, because there is nothing more frustrating when you start off strong and you're losing weight and then all of a sudden it's like the weight loss just stops, even though you're still eating right and you're still exercising. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Whitney Holcomb and I am author of the book, 1 Year, 100 Pounds. For those of you who are new here, I lost 100 pounds on my own when I was 14 years old and I have kept it off for over 20 years. I am also not a pro fat acceptance or health at every size believer or activist, I guess, because it's just not factually true. So I'm doing this video today because I actually got a comment from someone who watched one of my other videos asking for tips about breaking through a weight loss plateau. This person said, look, they're eating 1,200 calories, they are working out every day and plus getting 10,000 steps every single day, and they lost weight initially, but now it's like the weight loss has stopped. So instead of just replying to this person in a comment, I realized I actually have a lot to say about this subject because I'm going through it myself right now, or I was going through it, and I just realized, you know what, I have so much to say, it's just too much to put in one little comment. So first, just a backstory on my recent weight loss journey. So I've recently been trying to lose like the last 20 pounds to get to my ideal weight. So if you've been following me for a while, I mentioned in some of my other videos that like anyone, even though I maintained a healthy weight throughout the years, my weight has fluctuated like anyone. And recently up in 2021, I got as high as 160, and that was just from, I had some unhealthy habits. Long story short, I lost 20 pounds. I was around 140, 145-ish. I did a weight loss challenge and I got down to around 140. But that was a few months ago, and since then my goal was still to get down to my goal weight, which is 125, but I've had some obstacles, just like anyone. Anyhow, back in July, after the holidays, after July 4th, I decided, what, enough is enough. I had family in town, so we had been doing a lot of eating, and I just was not on my game I need to be, I wanted to be. I think I just got comfortable kind of in my routine of eating pretty healthy throughout the week, but then when my family was here, or my boyfriend was home from work, then we would just kind of indulge, and that was enough to just keep me right where I was. I knew ultimately that wasn't my goal, and I also know look, I'm on here making these videos trying to motivate people, giving tough love advice. I've got to follow that advice myself. So I did. Finally, July 8th, I decided, what, enough is enough. I'm going to just finally lose these last 20 pounds and do what I said what I was going to do. And I started off strong. I started off at 143. I immediately went on to a 1,500 calorie diet, along with, my regular workouts. I went down pretty quickly. I was 143, and then I think, I lost the first 3 pounds in a week. The next week I lost another pound. And then the next week I lost another pound. So it was up until about a couple weeks ago though, I kind of stalled at around 137. For whatever reason, I was going from 137 back up to 138. Even though in my mind, I was saying, okay, look, I've been at this for 3 weeks, almost a month. Number one, I felt like the weight was coming off kind of slow, 1 pound per week. But I realized, that's actually pretty normal and healthy. I wasn't doing anything crazy. And, also you have to recognize when, the closer you get to your goal weight, only does your metabolism just naturally drop, because again, the less you weigh, the less calories you need to maintain it. Weight loss just doesn't come as quickly. So I expected that. And I was still okay with, just trusting the process and looking for any kind of results, because 1 pound per week is still pretty awesome. It's better than losing nothing, right? But finally, it was probably, I don't know, I guess it felt longer, but if I look at it now, it was probably a couple weeks I was at 137, kind of going back up to 138. And I'm I don't understand. I'm eating the 1,500 calories, I'm working out. But it was at this time that I actually had to be really honest with myself. And if I was honest, I looked back at the past few weeks and I noticed a couple things. Number one, even though I started off strong and I was very disciplined, like my family was still in town, we would go out to eat and I wouldn't eat anything at the restaurant. I would just wait till I got home so I could have my meals. I was really, really disciplined about sticking to my diet. But after like a couple weeks maybe, there were a couple days where I did not stick to my diet. I wouldn't say I was like binge eating, but I definitely was not in that calorie deficit. I started to revert a little bit back to my old habit, which is like, okay, eat well during the weekdays and then, indulge on the weekends, which is a great way it's a great tool for maintenance, I guess, and probably like the most healthy, sustainable way to live your life, right? Is to like the 80-20 rule, but not when you want to lose weight. Because again, indulging on the weekends it can mess up your calorie deficit, and it can be the difference between losing a pound that week and not losing a pound that week. I had to be, number one, honest with myself about that. Even though it wasn't a ton of days that I did this, it was more probably than I should have. And again, remember, I'd only been at this time like about a month. So, a few days out of that time, that is like one day a week. I also had to be honest about the way I was tracking my calories. And I'm actually really pretty good at tracking my calories. I'm very used to like measuring things out. I have these like little like containers that I can measure things out. But I did realize that that's not always the best way of measuring some foods. Like a food scale is much more accurate. So I think I made some mistakes there when I was, measuring out some foods. And and again, this is someone who I'm telling you guys all the time, track your calories. And I made a mistake myself. For whatever reason, I was not really counting the calories in my coffee. So I put like a little bit of creamer in my coffee every time I drink one. And because it's not really a lot of calories, it's like 30 calories, for like a tablespoon. So I just didn't track it because I didn't really it's just so little, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm still seeing, some results from weight loss. But if again, I thought about it, I'm like, well, sometimes I have like 3 to 4 cups of coffee a day. And that's easily like an extra 100 calories. So I had to be more honest with myself about that. And then also with my exercise. So again, I've said many times before, I love exercise. It's not really a problem for me. I try to exercise or try to do something almost every single day. But there was a period during this, month I was losing weight, where my fiance and we got sick. So I was not exercising as much. And so not only that, but I also realized that while I was pretty consistent with doing like my actual workouts, which are usually about 30 minutes, and I either lift weights or I get on my bike and I do like a cycling workout. Some days that was all I was doing. And while that's amazing and that's great, especially for maintenance, I think I realized, I did like a short not too long ago where I showed like I only burn for like 30 minutes, like an intense like 30-minute on the bike. For me, at my size, it's only like 230 calories, which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot of calories actually. Again, it's better than nothing if you are, starting from doing nothing, but I'm not at that point, right? I'm more of like intermediate advanced. So for me, that's not a lot. So considering the fact that when I was not working out, most of the day I realized I was sitting. I work at home, so I'm on my computer. And I really didn't even leave the house very much. I'm very much like a hermit. And I realized that besides my workouts that I was doing, outside of the gym, I wasn't really moving a whole lot. So really, I wasn't really burning much beyond, like my baseline. And then coupled with the fact that, I wasn't eating like a bird. I was sticking to my 1,500 calories, but that was almost at like maintenance for me at that time. So if I thought about it, I'm like, okay, it actually makes sense. I think I was still in a slight calorie deficit during that time, which is why I did lose a few pounds, but why it wasn't going as fast as I wanted it to go. So that happened, right? And something else kind of weird happened too. I will tell you guys, think about it what you will. I think it kind of ties into a video I did not too long ago about the maid experiment, about how once maids were told that actually what they are doing does count as exercise, and they burn a lot of calories through doing their daily, cleaning activities, they ended up losing weight just because now all of a sudden they, believed that they were actually exercising and doing something that would help them lose weight. So what this was, I did kind of like a self-concept exercise, and I just realized, I think I had a lot of resistance against not even losing weight, but just success and all kinds of things in general. Like I'll spare you the therapy session, but a lot of it did tie into my weight loss. And I kind of, I just did this like journaling exercise and I wrote down all these things and I realized, yeah, you know what? I think I might be the person that is holding me back from accomplishing what I want to accomplish. So literally, like I said, I've been kind of stuck at 137, right? And so then I had this day where I looked back at everything I think I was not doing right, and also did this self-concept exercise and felt a lot more freer after that. Like it kind of all clicked and made sense to me. Literally the next day I was 136. And then, after that, I implemented like more walking, and I, again, was more careful about my calories. Couple of days later, 134. I did not actually like film any of it, so you'll just have to take my word for it. But it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird. And I guess you could say it could have been for a lot of reasons. Was it because all of a sudden, I believed I could lose weight now and then something in my body and my cells, reacted that way? Or was it just that, it was just taking my body a while to let go of water weight or whatever? Who really knows? All I know is now I have broken through the plateau and I am now back on track with my weight loss, and things I have changed, like I said, are I am being more careful with my calorie count, and I'm doing a lot more walking per day. So I'm doing my workouts, but I'm also definitely trying to do at least 3 miles per day walking, which is very doable for me. So that is my story about my plateau. But now here are some of my tips for breaking through a plateau, which hopefully will help the person who commented on my other video, and maybe you as well if you are also experiencing the same thing. So number one is to ensure that you are actually eating in a calorie deficit. And what I mean is make sure you are doing like the right calculation. Like there are a couple different like BMR calculations online. Supposedly the Oxford one is supposed to be a more accurate one, but you can look that up online. All you do is you plug in like your info and it will tell you what your BMR is. And this will help you figure out what is like your calorie deficit, what your maintenance weight is, what your maintenance calorie is. And this can be different for every person. So that's why you can't just pick like a random calorie number and then, expect that to be the right calorie deficit for you. You know what I mean? I would say for most people, like, 1,200 to 1,500 calories, that is calorie deficit for most people. But again, you have to also remember that as you are losing weight, that your BMR is going to drop. So your deficit might have been 1,500 calories, but if you lost like 10 pounds, now it might be closer to like 1,400 calories. I don't know, I'm just kind of making it up, but that's the general idea. So make sure you are doing the calculation right and that you are eating in a calorie deficit to begin with. Number two is, like I said in my story, really make sure that you are calculating your calories correctly. It gets very easy to mess this up. Really the only way you can do it is if you are measuring out your food, like using like a measuring cup or using a food scale every single time. You have to, again, I write everything down in my journal so I don't forget. So I would say you have to have some kind of way of tracking it, because it is actually very easy to forget what you've eaten throughout the day. If I don't write it down, I have done that before. It's kind of easy to forget that, oh shoot, I know what I had for lunch, but I forgot to put in like the cookie and the latte that I ate, after work. Again, those things, they can add up quickly, and that could be the difference between you losing weight and you not losing weight. So yeah, you need to do like a refresh and really make sure that you are being accurate with your calorie tracking. Number three is pick up your workouts a notch. Like if you are already, I'm assuming if you are losing weight, you already have some kind of workout plan in place. Fortunately, I think a lot of people overestimate how many calories they actually burn during a workout. Even like I said, I do intense like cycling workouts for like 30 minutes, 230 calories, and that's really not a lot. That's like 2 cookies, right? So I think sometimes people psychologically, they think like, okay, well, I did a really hard workout, so I can have a few extra calories at the end of the day. And unfortunately, that's just not really true. Another thing is too, like your body, gets pretty adaptive at working out. So if you've been doing like the same exercise routine for the same amount of time, same effort level for like the past month, sometimes your body might actually burn even less calories than when it started because it's just got, your muscles have just gotten used to it now, so you're more efficient, so it burns less calories. So that's why, you know, they usually say like, okay, that's why you need to change up your routine. So you can do this either by, you know, doing a totally different kind of workout. Like if you were doing like a dance workout before, now try doing like a bodybuilding workout or rock climbing. I don't know, like just something different that uses your muscles differently. Or you can just amp up the intensity. So if you're lifting weights, make sure you are gradually increasing your weights so that your body is actually working. Again, because if it just gets used to lifting like the same 10 pounds all the time, you're not gonna grow and you're not gonna increase your calorie burn. I mean, the other thing you can do too, especially if you're just doing a lot of cardio, is just increase the amount of cardio you're doing, or increase the duration of your workout. So if you really only work out for like maybe 30 minutes a day, try doing at least like 40 minutes a day. Again, this just helps to burn a little more calories and get your body, you know, used to doing something else. Next thing, number 4, is to actually be honest with yourself about how consistently you have been working towards your weight loss goal. So again, I'm assuming you're watching this because you are saying, okay, well, I have been working out, I have been eating right, and I've been doing the same things, but I'm telling you, like, the weight loss has just stopped. And you know, I believe you. Even like in my case, I think you have to, before you freak out and think like, oh, it's just not working, I'm meant to be fat, be honest with yourself. Number 1, look back on how long has it actually been that you started this. And I can say for myself, like when I did this reflection, it felt like I'd been doing this for like months. And I look back and I'm like, oh, it hasn't even been a month yet. And that's not a very long amount of time. So, you know, it can be difficult, especially when you see like a lot of like weight loss, like the first week or so, because you're like losing a lot of water weight and it's really exciting. And then when it slows down, it's like you're getting impatient. I know you want it to happen right now, but remember, it just does take time for your body to catch up. So number 1, yeah, think about how long have you actually been doing that. During that, like, okay, let's say you've been doing it for like a month, maybe even 2 months, okay? But now think about how consistently you've been doing these things. And so we are all human. We all make mistakes. We all get tired. And I think a lot of us, like myself included, you might start off really motivated and all gung-ho, and you might be near perfect on your first week, first 2 weeks. But somewhere along the line, I'm sure there were some days when maybe you went over your calorie goal a little bit, or maybe you were tired and didn't feel like going to the gym, or maybe you didn't give it your all. And I think you just should be honest with yourself about, okay, like how many days was it actually that I didn't eat in a calorie deficit? Did you have a couple birthday parties that you attended where you allowed yourself like a few pieces of cake and some champagne? Was there like a week when you just weren't feeling it and you actually didn't really go to the gym very much? Again, just realize, I'm not saying this like to feel bad about it and like feel guilty. It's just more to kind of understand, you know, why your weight loss might not be coming as fast. And honestly, especially the more weight you lose and the closer you get to your goal weight, that stuff does matter because it can be the difference between, you know, like I said, losing a pound that week and not. Okay, and another thing I would suggest is to make sure you are weighing yourself in the morning before you eat or drink anything. And this is important because if you are weighing yourself at random times in the day, you're not actually going to get your most accurate weight. And I mean, I think it's like on average, people can, like your weight can fluctuate from 2 to like 10 pounds per day, just from water weight, from, you know, anything that, you know, you eat or drink goes in your stomach, like it will show up on the scale. It doesn't mean it's body fat, but it means that it's just, yeah, your weight is gonna be higher. So if you feel like you're not losing weight, number 1, make sure that you're getting your most accurate weight. Because you actually might be losing weight, but if you're only, you know, weighing yourself at random times of the day or at the end of the night, then it's gonna look like, you know, you haven't budged. Another thing is, you know, I would suggest not only using the scale as a way to track your progress. Sometimes, especially if you're doing certain kind of workouts, you know, your body composition may just be changing. It may be that you are losing fat in this place, but building muscle here. And so you may see that, you know, you look leaner, but your weight is still the same. So I would suggest if you have like a tape measure, you know, you can get a tape measure to like measure your hips and waist, and that will give you a better idea of, you know, if you were actually losing fat versus just losing like body weight. So again, before you think that, you know, it's not working, actually, you know, make sure you're getting your most accurate weight, and also recognize that, you know, if you're female, especially during certain times of the month, you know, yeah, your body will hold on to water and different things differently. Again, it doesn't mean that, you know, you're holding on to body fat. It could just be that, you know, your weight can fluctuate from like day to day because of those factors. I also notice too, like when I do like really intense, like like weight workouts, like with like dumbbells or whatever, sometimes the next day I will weigh more, and I think it's just for me, like it's just the inflammation, you know, when like your body's recovering, like, cause I'm usually really sore on those days. So I think that, you know, your body will hold on to more water weight at that time too. So if you are weighing yourself every single day in the morning, and then you notice some fluctuations like that, again, like don't freak out about it. It probably is something like that, if you know that you have been consistent with like your calories and, you know, your regular workout. Okay, so finally, my last tip for breaking through a plateau is to just give it time. So here's the thing. So maybe you have watched this entire video and you have done the mental checklist and you're saying, no, actually, Whitney, I really have been tracking my calories. Like, I'm not stupid. I have been doing a really good job at that. I have been consistently working out, and I am just not losing weight anymore. I would say, if you really are in a calorie deficit, you are doing the right things, you know, honestly, you know, you're honest with yourself that you're really doing the right things and you're telling the truth to yourself, you know, and using all the tips I said before about making sure, you know, you're accurately like tracking your weight and you're actually getting your accurate weight. I think you just need to give it time. You know, realize that, you know, your body needs time to catch up. I've had this experience before, like initially, you know, during my like 100-pound weight loss, where it seemed like, okay, like nothing was really going on. Like I was doing the same stuff, and it was like I hadn't seen any weight drop in a while. And then I swear, it's like sometimes like you forget about it, right? It's like a mental thing. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, 10 pounds gone. So I think it just, you know, everybody's body works a little bit differently, and it might not be that you're not losing fat. And it's really hard to tell in the mirror, right? Like, even though I've lost like almost like 10 pounds when I started, in the mirror, I don't feel like I look any different, because you look at yourself every single day. But, you know, remember that like your body might be holding on to a lot of water or salt, or whatever it is. So it might just be taking some time for your body to adjust. And then don't be surprised if it's like, okay, you wake up one day and it's like I said, like 10 pounds are gone, and you're like, wait, what? Where'd that come from? I think it's important when you hit one of these plateaus. This is when a lot of people get frustrated. A lot of people may give up, and they may go back to their old habits because they feel like, what's the point? It's not working. The thing is, it will work. It's actually the time when you need to work even harder and push even harder, because this is your test, right? Like, you need to learn just to trust the process. Some other kind of, you know, physiological thing going on in your body. Again, if you are in a calorie deficit, it will work. Everyone has a different timeline. Everybody's body does work a little bit differently. So you may just need to, you know, find things that work for you. And don't be afraid to, you know, adjust your diet, adjust your workout routine. Find something that challenges you, but is also sustainable. You know, what works for others might not work best for you. So you have to find what helps you be most successful. The biggest thing is that you can't give up, because if you give up, then you'll never know. And honestly, what is the worst thing that's gonna happen? Is that, oh, you're gonna continue eating healthy and working out and getting fitter, and then not lose weight? But I mean, is it really so awful that, you know, you continued being, you know, getting fitter and eating healthy? I mean, if anything, whether you lose any weight or not, I feel like those are still positives. So if you think of it that way, like, you're not wasting your time. You're not wasting your time being healthy. You're still, you know, contributing to a longer lifespan, even if you don't lose a single pound. But again, I guarantee you, barring some other kind of, you know, weird condition, that if you do the right things, you are in a calorie deficit, you stick to a healthy diet, then eventually the weight will come off. You know, don't put so much pressure on yourself either. You know, like I've said before, and I would advise anyone, don't put a timeline on your weight loss. I know it would be awesome to, you know, reach your goal in a month or 2 months or whatever it is, but sometimes it takes longer. That's just the reality. I mean, things happen in life. You can't always be as consistent as you want to be, but if you can be consistent in anything, it's that you don't give up. You just keep going. You can't beat the person who never gives up. If I'm honest, I've been saying I was gonna lose weight for years and get back to my goal weight, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen until, you know, quite recently. I never gave up. I never gave up the hope. I never gave up the motivation. Like, I knew one day I was gonna do it, but sometimes it just takes the right mindset to get you started, to get you motivated. So, you know, maybe you're just not in the right mindset right now. And if you're not, then figure out why. I mean, I would suggest doing like the self-concept exercise like I did, like really think about, okay, what may actually be holding you back from losing weight? Like, again, I know it sounds crazy. It's like, oh, why would I not want to lose weight? Losing weight means I'll be, you know, I'll feel better and I'll look better and all these things will happen. But sometimes, you know, look, people are creatures of habit, and, you know, your subconscious can really be fighting with you to stay the same. Because because a lot of people, not always consciously, but subconsciously, are afraid of change. There might be something deep within you that is actually afraid of having everything you want. They might be afraid of losing weight because they know that, like, look, you're gonna have to change your lifestyle. It's not gonna be the same routine all the time. And then when you do finally lose weight, you know, you're not sure what's gonna happen. I mean, again, you think that it's gonna be all amazing and sunshine, but there might be a part of you that doesn't actually believe that. Maybe there's a part of you that believes, like, I don't know, will my friends treat me differently? Will my family treat me differently? So I think you really need to look deep down and think about, is there any kind of reason that your subconscious may be holding you back? And if it is, just identify it and just, you know, realize, like, look, change is scary, but I promise you this is a good change. And it will be. You just have to take the plunge, you know, just stop being scared. Anyhow, guys, that's all I have for you today in this video. I hope that this was helpful in some way, shape, or form. If you like this video and you want more content like this, then please do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel so you can see more stuff like this. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.